welcome to Myrtleknits. My name's Liz. I live in England on the south coast, and this is episode, I'm going to call it 10.1. The reason it's 10.1 is I actually made a video yesterday and posted it, and I think about 6 people visited, and then I decided to take it down. It was fine, and there's some lovely stuff on there, and I, it's my usual, was kind of a new format where I was doing all the knitting first, and so it was lovely, but there was a little bit of rambling in it. I thought, do I want rambling up there? Possibly not. So anyway, I've taken it down, and it's also given me food for thought. That, excuse me if you want to hear traffic noise, obviously you can see I'm in a different room, different corner of the house, but you might see in the shadows that people walking past or a vehicle going past, and you might hear that too. So the food for thought is that I'm going to join communities that are already set up. For instance, certainly the Grocery Girls, they have a great knit along. I know I've mentioned that in my previous episodes. Gonna get more involved, I think, and just for the knitting. I'm not going to design to add my socks for now. I'm just going to knit their monthly sock knit along to start with. And like I say, this video, or did I already say? I'm not really sure. Isn't going to be the last. What I plan to do is I'm going to do some more tutorial type videos. I've done a few. They were a few years ago, and I enjoyed those. As I enjoyed doing these, I've really enjoyed it, and I've really enjoyed the learning process, which I think us crafters loved it. I learned how to do a thumbnail. There's lots of other bits I've learned. I've not got the right storage on my phone, and actually we've looked into that. And my next phone I'm due to get next month, and I have asked for more storage, and I'm still going to go ahead with that, because like I say, I am going to pop back in every so often. How that will look, I'm not really sure. I might continue with the same format. I'll certainly reflect back onto episode 10 that isn't on YouTube to see what I'd shown, and try and go from there and keep a note of everything I've done in between so I can show you. I think I said last week that I wasn't going to do it every 2 weeks. I was going to go try and do it within 3 weeks, and now I'm just saying I'll come on here as and when. Yeah, and I should probably forget everything I did, and I'll have to go back and look and try and get that format, or I will just do a brand new format. So one of the things I'm also planning on doing is I'm going to do a vanilla sock. It's kind of a knit with me, but also a vanilla sock recorded from start to finish. And that will be a free pattern that I will put into my store. But alongside that, I need to check with Ravelry that this is okay to do. So it's going to be a complete pattern. I know that's what they ask for. They want you to have a starting point and an end point that produces a complete item. But I'm trying to do it that I have my vanilla sock, which is a free pattern, but then there'd be a section of toppers that you can buy, because that's where I put all my work into. Is the sock pattern tends to be the same, but my work tends to go into the designing, the thoughts for the design, getting that down on paper, and then doing the knitting graph paper, and then transferring that online. So I produce hopefully a user-friendly, readable graph, and those toppers will be able to be added to the vanilla sock. So it'd be kind of a bit of a mix and match, I suppose, as well. And I'm going to try and do a lot of my socks are like a 64 stitch pattern. That's because I'm going to say it's an average, but it might not be. But that's the stitches I normally do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do maybe a couple of smaller ones and a couple of larger ones. And I will, when I make my design, my topper, what I'll do is that topper will change depending, so it'll depend how many stitches you have. So for instance, my boat and anchor socks that were in last week's episode, and they were in yesterday's, but like I say, that's not there. Sorry about that. I will perhaps sew if it's so that currently that sits with a 64 stitch sock, but what I'll do is perhaps I'll take the anchor out and it will be boats, perhaps with a little design in between, so that I can work it into whatever size sock I'm doing, and obviously add more, so maybe the boat and anchor and something else for the ones where it's a bigger sock. So that's just going to be a work in progress. Like my shop, that's just going to be a work in progress from now on. I'm not taking patterns down immediately. Some will go. I've decided there's some that have been on there that I don't want for sale anymore. So you'll be able to see them, but they won't be for sale anymore. I think there's one at the moment I'm working on, so it's there, but I've put in the notes in capital so it stands out right at the beginning to say this is currently under review, because I've said in previous episodes I like to go back and revisit my patterns, and you know, pattern writing changes. I haven't got a tech editor that I use, you know, I can use regularly. I did have a test knitter on my last pair, which was really lovely, and you know, I will certainly keep in touch with my test knitter. And keeping it, so I'm talking about keeping in touch, if you go back onto previous episodes, I've got my Instagram account on there and my Ravelry username and where you can find the store. But I think I'm going to set up my Etsy account again. I did have one and I took some stuff down because we were going away, and I wouldn't have been around to post things if anybody had ordered. And I don't know whether in my thumbnail you see the little logo in the top left hand corner, you are knitworthy. That's something I've covered this in one of my videos. I did the doodle, I drew the sheep, then I sent it to my daughter's friend and she tweaked it. She's very artistic, and then it came back and then I tweaked it. So what probably took a shorter amount of time, I spent a couple of days again researching. But like I said, with the learning how to do the thumbnail for YouTube, I really enjoyed doing. I really enjoyed learning how to do that. So I was able to do some of that side of it as well. And then I had them made into pins, and I've got some tote bags. So over the next couple of weeks, I will set up an Etsy shop. So if you're interested, just keep an eye out. So I'm not going to really add anything to the notes here, but what I'll do is, if you go into Instagram, I'll arrange that I've got a link to my Etsy shop on there as well. So come along and follow me and keep an eye out. But I think for now, like I say, I'm not disappearing completely. I will be here hopefully putting some tutorials on, but also I will come and visit. I will do the odd video, and that might change. Things change like they have now, whereas I planned on, you know, I think I've done, it was 10, but I've done 9 that have been sitting there for some weeks. It's perhaps not, whilst I'm enjoying doing it, I'm not getting quite what I would have liked out of it. I'm trying to put this in a way that doesn't sound, I take it back down again. Don't want anything negative, but I think it'd be better to take the, what's the words I'm looking for? It's not pressure, because there is no pressure. I'm doing this in my own time when I want to, and that's no problem. But I think I was feeling that I should be doing one every 2 or 3 weeks. And then obviously I take the time to set that up, and perhaps my knitting felt a bit more pressured. And see, I'm rambling again. No, I'm not going to ramble. So I'll leave it there. And what I'm going to say is I'm going to see you soon. But I hope to see you sooner in respect of you coming to visit me. But don't worry if not. And cheerio. That's it. Take care. Bye.